turtle avatar of Vishnu is traditionally followed by his descent as a Varaha, the cosmic boar. But they all relate in one way or another to the unearthing of an earth goddess from the depths of Vishnu's watery abyss. This goddess invariably takes the form of a personified lotus flower in Hindu iconography, because this is the image of the earth itself, a massive lotus flower. And the cosmic boar typically elevates this goddess, a lotus, with a curved tusk on the side of his mouth. The use of boar symbolism in Brahmanic mythology appears first in the Vedic hymns, where various solar deities claim a close association with this creature. In one song, the wily dragon Vritra is said to labor like a boar in his watery abode. Or alternatively, Vedic Vishnu is identified with a wild boar, a Varaha, when he drinks soma from his mythic mother. Just as Vedic Rudra, a title, as we've noted, of Shiva in classical Hindu mythology, is described as a red and celestial boar that brings bliss to the Aryans. The Rig Veda also likens Soma, Pavamana, to an advancing boar when he flows with Amrita, the nectar of the gods, while later passages of the Atharva Veda identify the boar as an animal spirit that assists Indra and Garuda in uprooting their invigorating plant. This uprooting motif is something that I believe might relate to the later Puranic versions of the cosmic boar. By the age of the epics, 400 years ago, the solar boar assumes a role that is roughly equivalent to the role of Shesha, Vishnu's dormant serpent aspect, in that Varaha uplifts or releases a lotus-formed earth goddess from the depths of Vishnu's boundless ocean. The Ramayana attributes this particular deed to Brahma, but most Puranas, such as the Bhagavata Purana, assigns the role to Vishnu, as follows. When Manu, the first of all men, and his wife were born to the earth, they bowed to Brahma and asked how they might render praise unto the gods. Brahma commanded Manu to populate the world with offspring like himself, and suggested that he protect Mother Earth in accordance to divine law. So the first man, Manu, agreed dutifully to abide by the laws of the great Creator, but complained that there was no home for his offspring, because his mother, the earth, had been submerged in the primordial waters of Vishnu during the previous cosmic flood. Brahma took a moment to ponder Manu's concerns and then decided upon a solution to the problem. The grandsire of the gods proceeded to give birth to Vishnu from his nostril in the aspect of a very small boar, only about the size of a thumb. But growing rapidly into a large creature, that wondrous rutter rushed into the vast ocean to search for the earth goddess. And in short course, he found her there, in the deep, where she lay suspended in a deep state of slumber, with kusha grass for hair, clarified butter for eyes, and soma for semen. That great boar reached gently into the waters and slipped his soft tooth underneath the sleeping earth. Resplendent and armed with the sun-like chakra, Varaha pulled the goddess out of the aquatic abyss with the tip of an extended tusk. Thus the earth was born from the waters, like a beautiful lotus plant that rested upon the tusk of a great elephant. As is evident, the Bhagavata Purana's version of Vishnu's boar incarnation borrows many of its mythic themes from ancient Vedic accounts of cosmogenesis and the role of Soma, Pavamana, in the separation of the earth and sky. In this case, a boar descends into the waters and then raises a lotus goddess, the earth, upward with Vishnu's radiant solar disk, buttery eyes, and soma-laden phallus. In so doing, he uproots the vitalizing plant of the gods, just as he did in the Atharva Veda for the benefit of Indra and Garuda. The central role of the sacred lotus in the tale of the cosmic boar is often highlighted in iconographic interpretations of the creature. Beginning with a famous 5th century cave relief in Udaigiri in Madhya Pradesh, India, the solar boar is observed with a lotus flower radiating above his head as he hoists a goddess that stands on a stalked lotus flower. She dangles her body from his tusk. After the turn of the 10th century, we have uncovered numerous sculptures of the boar throughout India, suggesting the tale was actually quite popular during this age. These are exemplified by a 13th century sculpture from Orissa, which portrays the radiant boar in a quasi-personified form, while uplifting a lotus-seated goddess from his floral podium. We note that Varaha is illuminated once again by a celestial lotus that shines like a sun above his head. The cosmic boar balances the goddess and her flower on his crooked elbow as he brandishes 2 of Vishnu's standard attributes, the conch and a solar lotus flower chakra disc. A 10th century portrayal of the scene from Kanuj, India, emphasizes the lotus as a podium for the ascendant boar and earth goddess, her name being Bhu-Devi, goddess of the earth. But the goddess, Bhu, still seems to catch hold of his tusk. The recurrent emphasis on the role of a boar's tusk seems to suggest some sort of symbolic importance, but the detail is normally passed over in modern commentaries on these tales. In the following tale, the tusk is employed as a weapon, owing to the cosmic boar's need to vanquish a demonic adversary before assisting the dormant earth goddess. Once there was an Asura by the name of Hiranyaksha, who had powers that were comparable to those of the god of time, Kala. Having successfully led the Asuras against the Devas in war, Hiranyaksha decided to bind and enslave the earth, a blue lotus flower, in his underworld haunts. This selfish deed caused much distress among the Devas and Brahma, requiring that they approach Vishnu to seek his assistance for the return of the goddess. Vishnu heard them out and decided to transform himself into a wild boar, in which form he proceeded to impale the underworld spirit with his curved fang. And because that famous curved tusk was eventually left behind when Varaha returned to the ocean of milk, it came to pass that Shiva, the Lord of Devas, happened upon the residual tusk during the cosmic dissolution. And to this day, Shiva still wears the famous curved tusk of the boar as an ornament. In this version of Vishnu's boar descent, Varaha demonstrates his power to create and to destroy at a moment's notice by employing a single and simple weapon, a boar's tusk. He uses the tooth to impale an unruly yaksha, an Asura, and then, with the same tooth, elevates Mother Earth in the form of a blue lotus from his watery home. A 12th century relief at the Hoysal-Eshvara temple in southern India emphasizes the role of Hiranyaksha in the tale by having Varaha push the demon's body deep into a labyrinth of lotus rhizomes as he lifts Bhu-Devi, the earth goddess, out of the waters. By my botanical reckoning, the famous curved tusk of Varaha probably relates to a distinctive vegetative structure that, in a certain way, lifts a flower a lotus flower into the air at the beginning of a padmakalpa, i.e. a floral stalk arising from a submerged rhizome. Just prior to the emergence of a fertile lotus shoot, a thickened primordial shoot, about the size of a thumb, that is covered with a dark and mottled stipule, actually a pair of stipules. These are reduced leaf-like appendages, emerges from the mud of lake bottoms. This structure requires a few weeks to mature before a full floral shoot begins to elongate and develop into a stalked flower. In this phase, the vegetative structure exhibits the general size and dimensions of a large tooth, as various narratives emphasize, and with a slight curvature that is decidedly reminiscent of a boar's tusk in shape and dimension. When the rising stalk begins to reach upward, it initially exhibits a bristling epidermis that is not unlike the hirsute hide of a hog. And after the flowering shoot has fully extended itself above the waters, a persistent stipule is left embedded at the bottom of a pond, attached to the lotus rhizome. If this may be regarded as the residuum of the boar's tusk, then it stands to reason that Shiva, the lotus god of dissolution, would inherit the souvenir of a past lotus cycle.